There have been a few times where I've recorded or taken photos in restaurants. And while you can do whatever you want, whatever you think works for the situation, I do think there are a few tips I can provide that will just help you have more chances of success. So I'm actually going to make this into a two-parter because I think there's different ways to record, and one can be cinematic if you're doing there for professional work, or if you're doing something for the company even, or if you're recording just as a attending person, that like you're just there eating. Maybe you're a content creator that doesn't really want to bring all the fancy gear and everything, stuff like that. So first off, I'm going to cover the non-cinematic one because I think that'll apply to a lot more people, and I think it'll be something that might be just easier to do in general. So for the non-cinematic way, you're only going to need a few key things that will just make it so you don't look like you're there with a bunch of gear, and that'll make it kind of random and weird to do. So first up, you're gonna need a phone or a small device that can record. Phones can usually record in 4K now, so that's a really good option. And if you don't want to do that, then maybe like a small point and shoot, a small good camera that is useful, that'll be another good one, but that'll attract a lot more attention too. So just keep that in mind. But that will attract a lot more attention too, so just keep that in mind. The second thing you might want to use, which will make you look kind of weird and random potentially, is a light. A small light is really good. That will help make your food or make whatever you're trying to do there look a lot better. The one thing I will say though is try to get a dimmable light, because if you are, for example, recording something like the atmosphere or something, that is fine to use your light at full brightness. But if you are recording stuff like people nearby, or if you're recording even your food, then it might be obstructive to people, especially if the place is like a moody one where they have a lot more darkness around. So even things like the Pocket 3 or GoPros are also usually pretty good as well, and they also have good options for having low light capabilities. So think about that as well when you are going to record at a restaurant, especially if you're not trying to take a ton of gear, like I said. One other thing worth considering is a mic, because you might want to do some content narration, but if you don't want to do that, then just go with the mic that is on the device, because most of them are still pretty good, and it'll like create some atmosphere. Because mics, if you're holding it onto you, if you have them on you, it'll just have your voice and there won't be as much atmosphere. So if you're trying to like travel, for example, like it's going a little off topic, but if you're traveling and you want to showcase like how it feels to be there, then having a mic on you may not be the best option, because, you know, you're not going to get all the sounds and stuff around you, depending on how sensitive the mic is. So now that we got the gear and a few things out of the way, here's a few shots I think you should take, whether you're doing a cinematic or not. And some of these you will see in the other video too, so just keep that in mind. So first off is maybe the sign or some kind of like signage that you are seeing when you go to the restaurant. This will be like your establishing shot and will make it look really cinematic and nice, regardless even if you're shooting on a smaller device. Now, secondly, you might want to do like a walk-in. You might want to pan down, or you might want to pan some way, and you might want to walk in. This will just showcase how the place looks, which is another establishing shot. Now, after that, maybe get some decor, get some small things that are interesting over there, and that'll help make it look even cooler when you're posting a video, because people get the vibe of what you're trying to eat or what you're trying to show. And lastly is get some stuff of your food or whatever you are doing there. So if you're going there to eat, or if you're going there for experience, capture some of that. So maybe if you're going to a teppanyaki hibachi place, that when they're making the food, maybe get some stuff of that. But if they're just a restaurant, then get some close-ups of your food, get some nice shots, and you can still do plenty with the non-cinematic things, but these will at least give people an idea, and you can still create a very like genuine look for the video just by doing these few shots and having a certain equipment that will just help you a lot more. Many of these things can be portable, so you don't have to worry about looking like really crazy over there and having like a whole setup. So in a nutshell, that's what you can do to record in a restaurant without much gear, without being kind of random and awkward because you have a ton of stuff and you're trying to make the most cinematic thing. This is just to kind of be a bare bones thing, and one that you can basically use with a phone and a light. One where you could basically just use a phone and any small devices. So I really hope you enjoyed, got some value out of this video. If you want to see another cool one, be sure to check out this one over here, or check out the channel right over here. If you want to hit me up on social media, I'm also available over here for any questions, or if you want to just hit me up for any content. I really hope you enjoyed. Also, be sure to stay tuned for the next video where I talk about the more cinematic way to do this, because there's a little bit more that goes into it. So hope you see you next video. Peace.